When it comes to Warriors games, I'd say that I am somewhat of a veteran. The first game I personally played in this long-running series was Dynasty Warriors 2 on the PlayStation 2 back in 2000-2001. I didn't actually even own it, it was a friend's game. He basically picked it up because it looked good on the box, and I didn't own a PS2 until long after the Slim version was released, choosing instead to have the original Xbox as my main console. So when Dynasty Warriors 3 finally came to the Xbox, I of course grabbed it as soon as physically possible. I'm not sure why I love those games so much. I think maybe it was just the simplicity and the kind of arcadey fun that those games personified. It's kind of hard to say, but one day in 2004 I was randomly looking for games at a local store and spotted one called Samurai Warriors. I thought it looked kind of cool, again just from the box, so I picked it up, took a good look at the back, and I remember saying to myself, oh, this kind of looks like Dynasty Warriors. So I decided to buy it there and then. I took it home, and when I first booted it up, I noticed that the logos and everything were the same as the Dynasty Warriors games, and then very quickly realized it was essentially the same game by the same company, but set in feudal Japan instead of ancient China. I don't know why it didn't click with me that it was the same company right away, but you know, back then we only had a few magazines and stuff at the time, no social media or even YouTube to tell us what was being released and what was popular. Either way, I really loved the original Samurai Warriors from 2004, and now 17 years and many other games later, we finally have Samurai Warriors 5. But just before I go any further, thanks to everyone for the support lately on the channel, it's very much appreciated, and also welcome to the new subscribers. If you're new to the channel and you find this video helpful in any way, please do check out the rest of my content, and if you like what you see, please do consider subscribing today. So what you're seeing here is gameplay from Samurai Warriors 5 trial version, which released on the 20th of July. It's available right now on PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and Steam if you want to try it out for yourself. It also works, I believe, on Xbox Series consoles and the PS5 via backwards compatibility. I've put in around 4 to 5 hours, and I gotta say I'm really enjoying it at the moment. So if you don't know, the Warriors games are essentially hack and slash games with some very light RPG mechanics thrown in. They also belong to a genre title that isn't used too much anymore, which is the 1 versus 1000 genre. It basically just means that you're one special character on a battlefield and you cut down thousands of enemies during most of the battles. In my opinion, it's not a genre for everyone and is usually labeled as highly repetitive. But you know, some people like that kind of thing. Some people like to grind, some people only like multiplayer games, and others just want sports games. So, you know, each to their own, I think. For me though, these games have always been fun. I'm not exactly sure why, but I've always really enjoyed them, except for Dynasty Warriors 9. And I mean, I understand that there's probably some fans out there for that game, for Dynasty Warriors 9, but I think it's arguably the worst Warriors game ever made. I mean, 6 wasn't great either, but I'd rather play that than 9. Samurai Warriors 5, however, is actually somewhat of a hard reboot for the series. The art style has been completely changed to this kind of hand-drawn ink style that brings to mind Japanese calligraphy, and every single character has been completely redesigned and made to look a lot younger to facilitate the new story mode, except of course for the characters that are newly added. As an example, here is 2 pictures of the same character, Ieyasu Tokugawa, the old version on the left and the new version on the right. The game's trying to tell the story of Nobunaga's rise to power from very early on in his life. This story has been done before many times in many different games, but I think they wanted to tell it in more detail here, which is a pretty cool approach. The older games tried to tell most, if not all, of the entire story of feudal Japan in each game, and this looks like it's trying to be a bit more personal and a bit more detailed. It even includes Yasuke as a playable character, and for those that don't know, he was the first black man to become a samurai and served Nobunaga as one of his most loyal retainers in the late 1500s, and basically protected him with his life. Yasuke as a real-life person is just really fascinating to me, and there's even a Netflix show based on his life. So if you're interested in finding out more about him before the game comes out, maybe give that a watch. If you've ever played any of the Warriors games other than 9, you'll understand how the game actually plays. You have a battlefield, you pick your character, and you cut through thousands of enemies using various combos and special moves in order to get to the boss and complete the level. The controls are largely unchanged from the older Warriors games, so people like myself can just pick it up instantly, but it is very easy to learn for new players. You have a light attack combo that you perform simply just by by pressing the same button over and over, but you can end the combos with a single press of the heavy attack button. For an example, on the PS5, which I'm playing on here in the footage, you can press square, 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 triangle to perform a 4-move combo, or maybe just square then triangle to perform a 2-move combo. It's very fast and fluid feeling, and as you can see from the footage, it also looks pretty cool when you're doing it. Once you've filled up the pinkish colored gauge underneath your health bar, you can unleash a Muso attack by pressing the circle button, which is sort of like an ultimate attack that can take out hundreds of enemies with a single hit. And again, anyone familiar with the series will instantly know what these are like. And as usual, you can jump by pressing X, and there are aerial attacks as well, including the ability to juggle enemies. Something unique to Samurai Warriors though is the hyper attacks, which are simply done by pressing triangle over and over again. It sort of dashes you forward with an attack and bridges the gaps between clumps of enemies. It helps string combat together so that you don't get this stop-start staggered effect. And if you do find yourself at the end of combat with no enemies to defeat, instead of having to run everywhere, you can simply hold down the left trigger to call a horse to your side at any moment to help you get around the map a lot faster. During battle, you'll gain XP to level your character, you'll increase proficiency with your chosen weapon, and also get weapon drops themselves, which can have various effects attached to them. As this is a demo, you aren't really allowed to do too much with all the list, but for some players out there who really enjoy tinkering with their gear and getting the most benefits out of their stats, you'll have a lot to do in the full release. I played on PS5 and it ran perfectly fine for me. I don't think I saw any frame drops or slowdown at all, which is usually something that these games suffer with, especially in the past. It could just be that I'm playing a PS4 game on a PS5 and that just helps keep it stable, but for me, it looks really nice, good vibrant colors, and some of the environments do look to have a bit more detail than usual, so perhaps the new art style covers any shortcomings in performance and raw graphical fidelity. I could see that being part of the reason that they made this big change. I mean, the character models look well done, and the redesigns, at least the ones I saw in the demo, are done tastefully. None of them made me think, oh my god, what the hell have you done to this character? They all look pretty good to me. I mean, I initially wasn't sure about them changing everyone up, and I think ultimately it was needed. And honestly, after playing it and being a long-time fan of these games, I really think Dynasty Warriors 10, whenever that comes around, should do something similar. The 10th mainline game in that series would be a good time to do it, and almost an excuse to do it, right? I absolutely hated Dynasty Warriors 9, so if they could just bring it back to its roots while using a better visual style, I'd be very much on board for that. You're only given 2 levels to beat as a young Nobunaga in this trial version, and then you can replay those levels in free mode with 4 other characters if you want to try them out. But as I just said, this is a demo and there really isn't too much to do overall, but to me, this really feels like the older and arguably better Warriors games, but with a brand new art style and attitude. For my tastes, it feels fresh and new, but also incredibly familiar, which is great for me. Of course, you could just say it's the same old game with new paint, and you'd be correct. Like many things in life, it's a matter of perspective and viewpoints, but if you have any interest in this game at all, please do give the trial version a try. It's only a few gigabytes download, I believe, and it's available virtually everywhere. And in all honesty, with companies trying to get us to go all digital these days, I feel like all games should just have a demo at this point, and if that demo ends up not being representative of the final product, you should instantly get a refund if the game comes out in a crap state, but that is just one man's opinion. But yeah, I didn't want to go massively into all the tiny little details in this because I think if you're going to try this demo, you should really find it all out for yourself. I've given you the main points, and let me know if you're a fan of the series. Have you tried the demo out yet? Anything you want to share with me, please do let me know in the comments. I do have the full game on order, so I do plan to review it when I get it, so if you're new to the channel and you want to see that, please do consider subscribing so you don't miss it. If you're looking for retro games, please check out Pyro Games. There will be a direct link to their store in the video description along with a 10% discount code. But with all that said, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.